So I promised y'all an unboxing, and the first attempt, technically the second or third, didn't go very well. Because it was a bitter unboxing, or it was supposed to be. And what actually happened was that, my love of owning things and my love of BTS, which are actually two separate things, because duh, kind of like walloped me in the face because I opened the box and I just kind of like lost it because like I like this group a whole huge ton. But I'm here with a bittersweet secondary unboxing. I'm supposed to go to work in like an hour. So I got up early and got cleaned so that I could do this. Because one thing is that even though like a lot of times I talk really critically about fandom, not just K-pop and BTS fandom within it, but across fandom, it's been a lot because I've definitely been pretty outspoken about things that bother me and that I think require like extra analysis. And so I've had a lot of pushback, which leads to bad experiences because of like a whole host of things. But one of the things that I do like is that this is a fandom space where I've been able to talk to people and make friends with people. And so I guess this is kind of like a bittersweet thing in terms of videos, because it's like I am still very frustrated, not just by J-Hope's hair, but by the fact that we're not really allowed to talk about it and how the fandom, like we're not allowed to talk about his actual hair and what it means to see an idol for a group that's like, we're here to heal y'all, kind of just return to that like early group look of appropriating blackness as a costume. And then the fandom is just largely very frustrating. I mean, at every single point, it was like, wow, we can't really have a conversation that maybe we should be having, because if people are going to be like, BTS paved the way, BTS did this, BTS did that, a lot of the cool, awesome things that BTS has done, a lot of the milestones they hit, they don't negate the fact that we live in a world, and it is an anti-black one, where we're not allowed to be people, but we are products. And we've been products for 400 years, since 1619. And I think for me, like, I'm kind of used to getting disappointed by idols. Oh, am I? But, the fandom thing, I don't know, I feel like because I kind of bought into the hype of the fandom a bit, even though like I was seeing the nonsense, I was seeing anti-blackness, and seeing a refusal to engage critically with our group and with our fandom, like I still bought into the hype of we are ARMY, and being reminded of that I could have gone to every single BTS concert. I could have been with them from pre-debut. I could have. But then the second I express a critical point of view on anything that they do, which apparently means that I don't love the group unconditionally, because I'd let it slide, or I would be able to put them before me, I stop being a fan, and that's a thing that it's not only in ARMY, it's not only K-pop, it's not only fandom, it's if you criticize something, you are told that you don't love that thing. But let's start secondary unboxing. I really love this. I opened the bigger box it was in, and I was like, what the fuck, this is really cool, because it was like matte black, awesomeness. Right. Okay. A little chunky styrofoam thingy. I think, also, this came out. I don't actually know if this was in the box when I got it, but this is pretty neat. Fan Memes tried to steal it the second I opened it because she has a whole thing about folding fans that I suspect hails from like her past life. I was stuck at opening this, which is also why memes didn't want me to have it. But it's so cool. And so like when I talk about bittersweet feelings, it's just like I really love kind of memories, right? I have some memory issues that mean that I don't really remember old stuff, right? So like 2009, I literally don't really remember it outside of the photographs I have, for a variety of reasons. And so I love things like this. I love things like Summer Package, Memories of 2018. I love that we can see BTS's growth. We can see their growth as individuals and as a unit, and that's pretty freaking cool. But I also think that it's pretty easy to track the growth of the fans, or where there should have been growth. Because I saw someone who was like, oh, they honestly were like, so I guess they were beefing with someone, and someone else was like, oh, I don't know who that is, but if Army's mad, then he has to be a bad person. And aside from the fact that your fandom shouldn't influence your point of view of morality, it should really be the other way around at an extent. This was someone that they didn't know, that they had no engagement with, and they were like, oh, let's just jump on because Army is upset. And so I think that's one of those ways that you're like, oh, this hasn't changed. One of the first things I knew about Army was like, they don't really quit on certain things. And it's really interesting seeing a fandom that will be like, we fight the racists, we do this, we do that, but that kind of like isn't interested in looking internally. And the only time I've really seen, and because again, I'm super fucking nosy, the only time I've really seen on the international side, I don't know what's going on in K fandom because I cannot read Korean. But internationally, I really only see internal looks and like, wow, this Army is really bad. When it's hit like catastrophic levels of like, wow, we cannot ignore this. And so it's been really interesting. And like that was the first thing I kind of realized a couple years ago before I was like more than a filthy casual, was that this was not going to be a fandom that got introspective on any meaningful non-group related level. And then I got into it anyway. So the box is super shiny. It's plastic. I'm going to pretty much keep it in the box because otherwise I will break it. I love it. It's like a silvery shiny thing with, I love it so much. This is my first summer package. Actually, 2019, I had a lot of firsts for BTS because, like, again, filthy casual. I didn't feel like I needed the content that they were putting out, like paying for stuff. And then I was very frustrated by like all of the anti-blackness of the fandom and of other groups, which is not fair to be like, oh, I'm so annoyed at what I'm experiencing from the industry as a whole, so I'm not going to consume anything. No. But so 2019, I did have a lot of firsts in terms of fandoming, not just in BTS fandom, but like fandom as a whole. And part of why I've been really like kind of like in and out, like that bittersweet feeling of is because this is the first fandom I've been really active in on any level since the Star Wars fandom. And if you've been following me for like the past 2 or 3 years, you know that the Star Wars fandom was hell on earth. I mean, it remains hell on earth. Back in September, I had to lock my account like for at the end of September because I was getting harassment beginning of September because I was getting like people screenshotting my posts and stuff. and, going around blocks and insulting me. Someone called me stupid because I was pointing out that an argument that they were making was, that someone else was making, had a valid point. And because this was a white fan I was defending, I was apparently stupid. And, and this is coming from a Ray Kylo shipper who had to make a group chat, or who was complaining because the group chat of color was seen as racist by a fandom that had already proven itself to be super racist. And I've always known about the anti-blackness of K-pop fandom, of K-pop as an industry, because some of the idols, and I mean, some of it, yeah, isn't purposefully awful. But does that really matter when you're a black fan? Look at him, he's so cute. Does that really matter when you are experiencing micro and macro aggressions from people who will also make songs and talk about how they just want to make sure that their fans feel like they can heal, like they can trust them with their burdens, etc. This is amazing. What the hell? So I came from the Star Wars fandom, which was super anti-black and super painful to be in, because of how I was targeted with anti-blackness. And I came to K-pop fandom going, well, I'm already prepared for this. And then I wasn't, but I also wasn't prepared for the fact that I would find friends, that I would make friends, that I have people that I can text a cute picture of our favorite boys or girls, because like I love me some girl groups, and that I can talk to, I can fandom with. Like, I wasn't expecting as many positive experiences as I've had, and I think that's a little sad. And I think the positive experiences, though, are why, when you have moments of anti-blackness, when you have the fandom reaction to anti-blackness being, and ignore the conversations and dismiss the fans. I want to open this to show you guys, but I don't want to rip it. This is not even like a super serious unboxing. Look at how big this book is, though. But when you have that, when you have that positivity, or if your experiences in fandom have been like mine, and they've been very fraught, and you find a home in fandom, and then you realize that because you're a black fan, especially one that is unwilling to kind of roll over and accept that the world will eat us entirely, and we should and just be cool with it. Like, when you're a fan that's critical of fandom, and you're black and you're in K-pop fandom, the positivity takes a beating, And I don't think I've talked about this. I've been on two podcasts, because I was on my friend Girl Davis's Jinjacha, and that's when that episode comes out, you guys are gonna be like, y'all talked for like 3 hours. What the fuck? But one thing was, I remember that moment when I went, am I Army? Am I really a part of this? And it was right before I left for DC in April. This is like I made my friend take me to Target to buy BTS's like last EP. I loved it. I bought like 5 copies, and that's not why I felt like, oh, I'm Army, but it was like watching the video and like tweeting with all of these people that were like new friends, and I felt like I'd found community, and I felt like I'd found, to an extent, my people. But then the reminder comes whenever an idol wears appropriative hairstyles, whenever fans are critical about some aspect of fandom, and you're reminded that We can buy all the merch we want. We can get our tattoos. We can love BTS deeply. But the second we do something that the fandom doesn't like, we're just, well, I'm not going to say racial slur, but N-words in suits or N-words in standing gear. Like, we stop being people. We stop being fans, and realizing that doesn't change. Even though BTS as a group is like really empowering and really positive, that we aren't allowed to just be. You know, when I first did this, when I first did the unboxing, I was with my nieces, and both of them are really into K-pop. My niece Mai is a BTS stan. Like, this is her old group for the moment, because she's on Twitter. She's seeing how you guys treat Black fans, and feeling like you have to choose between, you know, what you love and who you are is not good. And she's 16. And then memes hates BTS with every fiber of her being, because she's 13 and hates popular things. But, you know, and she's not on Twitter, so she's not seeing the way that fandom treats Black people. Except, like, when Mai or I talked to her about it. But when I did this first, I had my nieces there, because I'm sitting center on a table, so I had one there and I had one there. And we were talking about a lot of stuff. Like, we went all over the place. That's why the first video is not posted publicly. But we were talking about just how shitty it is to be in this fandom space, and to feel like we don't get to be part of the fandom. I think that I would never blame any Black person for not wanting to get into K-pop or K-pop fandom. Like, if you just want to listen to the music and be chill in your apartment, if you want to just consume content without engaging in the fandom, if you don't want to consume any K-pop content because all you've seen from the groups or heard from the idols has been anti-blackness, I really don't blame anyone, because it is painful to be reminded that it isn't just that the fans think that Black people have no rights in K-pop fandom, but that maybe the idols don't either, or the companies don't, you know? And a lot of people I know have been like, I don't know if I'm going to continue consuming or creating BTS content. You know, these are largely some really cool people. Like, they're not all white people. They're not all people of color. They're like an actual diverse friend group. And they're like, I don't know if I want to consume this content for this group, because I'm seeing how the fandom treats Black people, and I don't like it, and I don't like that it's going against the message that Big Hit and BTS are claiming to have when it comes to healing, when it comes to loving. And I don't know where I am with that yet. I haven't bought anything new for BTS since the summer package. I bought Memories of 2018. I took the girls to see Bring the Soul. I've been watching Bring the Soul on this is not gonna fit in here, is it? I've been watching Bring the Soul on Weverse. I have the fan club membership, but I purchased that in like July. So I'm still deeply emotionally attached to BTS, and to a lesser extent the fandom, But I think that it's really important that we talk about the ways that this fandom makes life shit for Black people. Like, even Black people in our fandom. Like, that should be something we talk about. But it's not. And it's hard to love yourself when your group cosplays, your group has members who will cosplay as you, basically, as Black people. And when your fandom is so eager, is simultaneously super eager for Black approval and uninterested in Black opinions when they're critical. You know, it's hard to love yourself when you're being told that you're not wanted, that you don't belong, that you're not who the message was aimed at. And I'm almost 30. I'm older than everyone in BTS. You know, I've been into East Asian groups and artists before. I know what anti-blackness looks like in fandom and music, whatever. That I don't know, I think this is the first time that it's been really personal and really painful, because all of the other times we weren't really being told this is something you could have if only you weren't this. I love my friends, the friends that I'm making, that I will make in the future, who tweet recklessly, who are cool, who are super awesome. I love the inspiration I get from BTS as performers, with their work ethic, all of that. You know, I started writing lyrics again because of BTS. I really have, they've helped me on my personal growth path, you know? Like, not as much as Superman, but few experiences and cultural icons could help me as much as Superman has. That's just how that works. But what I would love is if the fandom, all of the fandom, thought about how it could be better to Black fans and to helping Big Hit and BTS understand that our culture isn't a costume, and that if you're gonna go global, more global than you already are, you have to treat all of your fans, all of your diverse fans, like we matter. All of us.